In the top right side, we have a red Zerg from Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett.
And in the bottom left, ladies and gentlemen, he had a breakout performance in the European Regionals. In the blue, playing Protoss, he's GunGFuBanDa.
Lovely. Lovely. Oh man, yeah, we just it felt like we looked at each other and we both had that same feeling like, you want to go into, let's go. Yeah. Let's do it, man. Yeah. Awesome. Scarlett versus GunGFuBanDa. I think this could be a very tight show. A very close game overall. It's been a while, to be fair, since I've seen a lot of games from Scarlett, but I do remember still seeing quite a couple of good results here and there. So it's going to be a tough one for GunGFu here, I would say. But then again, two different regions, right? Scarlett's probably more familiar with the Korean players than the European players, so I imagine as opponents.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so GunGFuBanDa had a really great result in the regionals for those who didn't manage to catch it. Excuse me, just to give you a quick update on actually what happened, because it was pretty, I think a lot of people were surprised, but his group, it was GunGFuBanDa, Clem, MaxPax, Goblin, Milky Cow, Hearthstone, Art, and Night Phoenix. So obviously Art and Night Phoenix, two Protosses. I think people didn't expect to do that well, but, you know, in that group, GunGFuBanDa, he went 6-1. He topped the group. Unfortunately, he didn't do that well in the actual playoff bracket. Dropped to Rainer and then to Showtime. But that was the eventual, you know, quarter semifinalists and finalists as well. So he had a really great result and had some really awesome games. So I'm really excited to see how GunGFuBanDa is going to play this out. Obviously, Scarlett is a bit different from the European Zergs like Rainer that GunGFu lost to. So we'll have to see, because obviously her style is very different from someone like Rainer.
Alright, we're gonna have that be displayed here, of course. GunGFuBanDa just kind of doing the regular Protoss things, you know, having blocked a natural base and interrupting the mining there. Nothing in particular just quite yet, as he is getting a Twilight Council behind this. Gonna keep my eyes peeled for what our follow-up is and how many gateways we're gonna get with this as well. Do you think GunGFu could try to be aggressive here, or you think GunGFu would play more into a macro game?
It is hard to say. I really do think that probably his best bet is probably in that later game. Scarlett has a really solid mid game. I mean, that's what she was really known for, was just how strong her mid game was. These timing attacks, handling pressure, multi-pronged, just handling things on multiple angles. So maybe you do try and bring it to the late game, but that's obviously scary against Zerg as Protoss. You know, that is just a scary thing to do, no matter what the meta is and how it changes. Zerg late game is always terrifying. And so we are seeing GunGFuBanDa here actually go into Glaives. We have seen a resurgence of Adept Glaives. It has come back. I know a lot of people probably didn't miss it, but it finds its way back into the meta every now and then. And this is very committed. This is 5 gates so far. We're going to get a 6th gate coming down. This is GunGFuBanDa. He's going all in on 2 bases. Will Scarlett be able to read it? Well, you see there's no 4th base, and that's already going to tip off the Zerg. Usually a Protoss, if they want to play a macro game and they want to get a really fast 3rd base off something like a Stargate opener, they will do it right around that 4-minute mark.
Yep. Only 1 Spore Crawler coming up here, which is pretty good for Scarlett. Still getting a relatively good drone count. And there's the Roach Warren. Okay, so she is probably already in her head thinking about the Adept attacks coming in. Is what or at least, right, considering it as a possibility here. Either that, or it could be DTs, there could be a Stargate, something as well. As why we're seeing some Spore Crawlers go up, but that's not really the main focus right now of what Scarlett is building. We're seeing Zerglings, the Roach Warren. That is the important bits here. Now, that is a good amount of Zerglings. Yes, I think Scarlett's going to be absolutely fine here, Titan. I don't think you got a lot to find here with these Adepts. You may just want to try to move backwards. I don't know if you've seen this a lot from Protoss, where they just kind of come in here with these Adepts, and then they see, okay, the Zerg is prepared. Okay, not gonna happen
GunGFuBanda's
here
going for it. This
yeah,
is
he's in.
yeah, this is a rough position. I mean, the surface area isn't that good for the Zerglings, but they still find a surround. As the Zerglings are going to get knocked down, though. Shade back into the mineral line, not going to be able to find the fire onto a few of those drones. But you clear out a lot of the Zerglings, and hey, that's already some value here. But you need a lot more with this Adept attack, especially off 6 gateways. You need to find so much more value. Just denying mining is not enough. We're finally going to see Adepts here drop to the main. This is absolutely what you need to do as GunGFuBanDa. You need to hit at multiple different angles. He's actually just fighting these small groups of roaches up front. He can absolutely do that. But so far, only 3 drones going down, and really you need that drone damage. That's where this starts to get, you know, actually exponential, is when you start to find drone damage now that the roaches have been brought forward. Shade back in towards the natural here. Is going to cancel it, though. He's trying to also manage that drop in the main, but Scarlett has enough. She's been able to deal with it. Behind it, Immortal production and that third base startup. So it's that transition. And this is where the game gets pretty dangerous for the Protoss. I mean, goes in, how many times have we seen a Protoss die after going Glaives and is working on their third base transition?
Yeah, it happens an awful lot. Like this is what I was talking about as well. Sometimes when you do notice, I've seen Zaun do it, for example, and still manage to get it into a victory as well, where you... I wasn't quite sure if that is 6 gates as well, because that is quite committed. But anyway, regardless, the idea is that you move back with the Adepts after forcing out all those Zerglings and a couple of Roaches, right? And rather than committing into a trade there, you just back off. You coming in with a couple more Adepts needs to keep that Warp Prism alive.
Yeah, not the best focus fire there.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, you keep them alive, you run them back, you kind of dealt some damage to the Zerg as they had to force out all those Zerglings and Roaches. And then later you come in again with those Adepts once more that you haven't lost yet, but now you're bringing in a couple of extra sentries, perhaps, maybe some Immortals, something like that. And true and old kind of way of pushing for the Protoss. Which might be something we're going to be seeing here with the Blink and the +1 as well, but he has lost quite a couple of those Adepts. 9 of them, only, actually. Oh, he still has 10.
It's an interesting transition here. We're actually not going into necessarily the hero style. It's going to be the +1 Blink Stalker attack. This has been a staple, excuse me, a staple for Protoss for so long. But it's going to be also with Disruptors, and this is just to directly counter those Roaches, to say, hey, listen, you have a lot of Roaches, I'm going to get the Disruptors out. It makes it so much harder for the Roaches to actually engage onto the Stalkers after that Blink has been used, which is really the timing that the Zerg looks for to try and find that fight. And the Spire coming down here for Scarlett, well, it really is going to be a situational... It's going to be situational whether or not this is able to find any actual success. If you are able to find a good fight, hey, you got some chaos, you clean up some of the Stalkers, maybe you throw in a few Mutalisks, and while GunGFuBanDa is pushing, you're able to get across the map. But as it is now, it is so late that GunGFuBanDa, he's already across the map, has 63 army supply, has 1 Immortal, has Disruptor, and he's going to try and look for some damage because that +1 is already finishing up.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that much creep around this 4th base either, and it's about to be ready. Let's see if the Ravagers are going to be able to land those piles correctly, or if those Disruptor actually takes down 2 of those units. As well, the Scarlet supply is looking rather timid, but I can see it should be more. 11 Roaches on that production, maybe inflating it a little bit, but GunGfu backs up as well. I like the Disruptors because the Disruptors are, in a way, a very defensive tool as well, right? You can get lucky with the offensive, but defensively, it's so much more likely to get great connections because you're not having to run into your opponent. Your opponent is having to run into you, making it so much more difficult to dodge those shots. So yeah, it's going to be easier for GunGfu here after the initial Adept play not having gone its way to be able to transition into a later game with 4 bases here. The Mutalisk, however, they might still make this a rather difficult trick. Yeah, the pushes for GunGfu have been able to kind of preoccupy Scarlett for a while, forcing out more Roaches and Ravagers. But that's Mutalisk ball is seemingly now not going to get avoided for very much longer.
Yeah, I mean, it's really dangerous here for Scarlett. The Mutas they do need to try and find some damage. There's no real, I mean, there's a cannon in the natural, but there's no real other static defense here in these mineral lines. The main is completely wide open, and of course, that's where the mutas would attempt to go. But I gotta say, I like this from GunGFuBanDa. He's not committing super hard to this pressure. He realized, listen, I'm in a good spot. I don't want to risk ruining that by just committing in too far. So he pulls back with the Stalkers. He knows that these Disruptors are going to keep him safe at home. He even has that group of depth off on the kind of left side of the map, just in case Scarlett does move out. He can send those into a base. Here we go. Beetle's diving on in. There's a cannon warping in and a shield battery as the Stalkers blink forward. That's all of the Stalkers, though, for GunGFuBanDa. Didn't commit to going in, though. I mean, it's a lot of roaches, a lot of Ravagers. It's almost a maxed out supply here for Scarlett. Felt like that was maybe a chance to collapse on in.
Yeah, on one of these places, I mean, you still have to be ever so careful with those Disruptors there. It might be the problem here, but we'll see. They are still available. 2 areas, that would be lovely. Already a good shot right there. 2 more remain.
Yeah, Baneling's rolling on in now. Blinkbacks have to be good here. The Disruptor shot doesn't manage to find the connection that it wanted. GunGFuBanDa blinks away from the Baneling's Disruptors. They are still alive, though, and there's a lot of HP that is available for these Stalkers as we're seeing Blinkbacks on the front. Immortals and Archons getting picked up as GunGFuBanDa looks like he's going to win the war of attrition. His units are just that much more efficient as he actually had +2 finish for this fight. You know, there's an anti-timing here for Scarlett. She's attacking into the better upgrades of her opponent as now the Archons and the Immortals being dropped back in. GunGFuBanDa's looking to clean this up. The surround is not going to come through. Scarlett just backs it on up. She realizes that she has lost that fight, and for only 8 probes, cleaning up the entirety of the Zerg army is absolutely worthwhile.
Yeah, for sure. Scarlett behind this, no slouch, of course. Still trying to further her attack as well. Now on the Hive attack, might be able to get some Vipers involved, making it a lot easier to engage a Disruptor army. But it's not going to be there in time to really deal with the, well, Protoss now on the front door. That's a lot of Protoss, Titan. I'm not quite sure. There is a counterattack of Zerglings, but it's only Zerglings. And a couple of Archons there already available. Static defense available.
Disruptor shot.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, GunGFuBanDa, it just feels like he has managed to find the victory in this game. I mean, the Stalker's blinking a bit far forward here, but the drones are going down. The Archons are still standing strong with the +2. They shred through everything. GunGFuBanDa picks up game number 1.
Awesome.
He's pretty good.
He is pretty good, yeah. It may have been a little bit of an overreach at the moment for Scarlett to try and push into that location, perhaps, right? It feels like that's when suddenly she was so weak that GunGfu had the opportunity to just push it across the map. So maybe just a little bit of a lapse in judgment as to how strong GunGFuBanDa still was after the initial Adapt Glaive attack, right? You do anticipate the Protoss to be quite weakened after such a thing. Travesty. Protoss travesty.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't the best opening there for GunGFuBanDa, but I think his choice of how he handled the transition and where he applied pressure and then backed off, it was good because it forced Scarlett to respond. It forced Scarlett to kind of be aware of the fact that the threat was there, but Scarlett couldn't really do anything about it. You know, Scarlett just had to respond, and then GunGFuBanDa pulls away, and she doesn't want to commit across the map. She's not maxed out. It's Roach Ravager, and then that just gives the Protoss so much time, so much space to keep building up. But we're on to Data C for map number 2, so, you know, maybe a bigger map. We'll see if it is enough for Scarlett to tie up the series.
In the top right side, the Red Zerg. It is Scarlett fighting for Shopify Rebellion.
And the bottom left, ladies and gentlemen, he's up 1. Oh, he's looking super clean right now. It's GunGFuBanDa. Playing for Infernales in Esports. Just
you kind of surprised me there a little bit with the. I was late with the zoom in because of it.
I mean, you know, you gotta keep
Go
keep
for
you on your
Benda.
toes. Yeah, I can't let you be
Yeah.
ready for it. That's not how this works.
It
Listen.
felt like my shock, or like my little distress was shown in the thing. Like, I don't know why exactly, but anyway, probably no one else noticed, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's like in the WTL, you know, when we used to cast that and they would do the zoom in super quick. And
Oh yeah.
catch up. That's what I'm doing. I'm giving you memories.
Oh man, that was something as well. They kept changing it on us as well, like over and over again. Ooh, this is interesting.
Oh my.
Oh man.
Oh.
Hello, Mr.
All right.
Drone. Or should I say Mr. Hatchery now?
Yeah, well, this is certainly a build order to do. Obviously, I think this is just meant to delay the Nexus and really force a response out of the Protoss. GunGFuBanDa, he has to produce a Zealot here. But Scarlett, she can just cancel a hatchery, build an evolution chamber on the creep that is left over after the building, and you just keep delaying that Nexus. It really forces the Protoss to respond. It's actually a second Zealot here for GunGFuBanDa, which, yeah, it's definitely, again, it's really going to slow down the Protoss. There's the cancel, there's the Evo chamber. It's just going to be even more annoying to deal with, and yeah, you just got to respect it. It's
Okay.
I like it.
Cancel
Finally,
on that second Zealot there to get the adapt. It looks like he was just checking for that second Zealot in case he needed it.
Yeah.
You're not quite certain if there is going to be a Zergling follow-up to this. You know, people do that sometimes, right? Where there's suddenly the drones with the Zerglings on your front stack as well. And it's not just the hatchery there.
Yeah.
But not the case. Not the case, so nice cancel. GunGFu gets that money back. Still quite a bit of a delay and throws him off his regular tempo. Is that going to be enough here now for Scarlett to take the initiative, however? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Right now, I mean, GunGFuBanDa is looking to just apply a little bit of pressure, but enough Zerglings have been produced that you really can't. 8 is more than plenty, as that Adept is not going to complete that shade. Usually, you just want to wait for the second one, which is coming across the map, and once that's here, you actually might be able to start the pressure a little bit as the Protoss. But Stargate coming on the way for GunGFuBanDa, a much more standard, traditional opening here for the Protoss. We'll have to see if it's going to just be Oracles. I mean, could be Void Ray. I don't expect that. I imagine it's either going to be Oracle into Phoenix, straight Phoenix production, or if any Void Ray is just one to protect that third base if GunGFuBanDa wants to get it really early around that 4-minute mark.
Right, probe here being spotted going through the wall, perhaps. If Scarlett saw that, might be anticipating a earlier third Nexus, but would be very early on. So we're seeing Zerglings also coming out on the map, kind of meeting this probe, and the probe was visible on the minimap there for a very, very short, brief window of opportunity. Looks like it was missed by Scarlett. But you know what? I doubt this one is going to get missed. That Overlord just there, right on top of it. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, Scarlett's vision right now is actually kind of insane. Just looking at that Overlord spread, she really is just trying to know what's going on. Snipes 2, actually gets 2 probes there. It's just a nice little pick off, but it's an Oracle for GunGFuBanDa, and I mean, yeah. I don't think there's really a chance that this gets across the map without Scarlett knowing this, with how... Again, this is something that a lot of Zergs, a lot of top Zergs do, is they make sure that as long as there's no threat to their Overlords, they are going to keep them spread out just kind of outside the normal vision range. It gives them that little advanced warning. It's enough as well. It's close enough that they can pull it back to Queen safety if there was a Void Ray or Phoenix coming out to try and poke against them. And it just makes it that much harder for the Protoss to really find any success here with these Oracles. Is now going to move out with them, and they'll dodge vision for a little while, but should cross over into GunGFuBanDa dodging vision. But yeah, Overlord will eventually see it. Forge and Twilight Council is the follow-up with that third base.
Yeah, Scarlett's ready, man.
Yeah.
She's ready. There's Queens there, and a natural base looking a bit exposed, perhaps. But the Queens from the main and the third are going to be sent across as well, and yeah, look at that. Entire shutdown. Well, not entirely. 3 drones do fall. They give their lives, but it's just the price of war. What?
Look at this follow-up. It's charged.
Oh, wow. Wait a moment. 2 more gate.
Yeah, this is
+1.
So the reason why this is exciting, for those who are wondering, blink and +1, usually that's your standard transition. You can apply pressure, you can get a 4th base even while you're macroing up. Charge, however, oh, you're a lot more committed when you're going for charge because you want to find damage. And this has the potential 4 more gateways coming down. This is going to be 3 base charge. There's no gas on the 3rd base though. And if Scarlett sees that, I mean, what has she seen so far? I mean, she has seen no gas so far on this base, and that might be enough to clue her in. Hydras are on the way. I mean, I don't know. This could get a lot done here for GunGFuBanDa. I really like this.
She did get a relatively early on Baneling Nest for ZVP. So maybe. I mean, with the Banelings, especially if you have the Baneling speed, but even without, just regular Banelings against Zealots are very, very good. Blinkstalker's a different story. Definitely need the Baneling speed there, but just regular Zealots, that's okay.
I mean, this is 9 gates goes in. This is so committed here for GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah.
It's a 4th hatchery on the way for Scarlett. She's also getting a macro hatchery. I don't know if she's read this. Like, Scarlett's getting groove spines. She's, you know, there's not really, I mean, 28 lings are on the way, but that might just be, I think that's just her rebuilding this ling count and getting some Hydras out for defense.
These gateway forces of GunGFu are pushing this away rather convincingly, right? And, well, I guess she might still be anticipating Stalkers or something of that sort. Now we're seeing more Banelings coming in. Banelings definitely what you want to see here against this amount of Zealots. Let's see. Already the Adepts marching on through. Nice detachments of Zerglings there. Being able to utilize that mobility. Shut it down. Ooh, pretty good splits from the Zealots there.
Yeah.
Stasis traps.
Yeah, gets a few, but I mean, so far this damage not really ramping up, and now you're seeing the drones start to go down. I don't know if this really attack has longevity. GunGFuBanDa, he's not bringing in reinforcements, but 12 drones fall. And considering what is committed in, that's, I mean, honestly, pretty worthwhile. You're looking at it. Overall, the Zerg has lost around 400 more resources over the course of this. 16 drones have fallen, and I mean, GunGFuBanDa, he commits 16 Zealots. Considering the mining that the Zerg loses, you're going to be pretty happy with that, because he does have somewhat of a transition. He does have a Templar Archives, Archons on the way, and Immortals. So it's not like he was, you know, 11, 12 gate completely all in. It was, he wanted to apply the pressure. He found some damage. It's not ideal. You do want a little bit more, but it worked.
Yeah, I wonder how it would have went if he went more committed, but then maybe Scarlett would have caught wind of it earlier as well, right? A lot of what-ifs in that situation, but
yeah,
it does seem like GunGFu made that 3rd base with the idea of, like, if I don't just, you know, do a whole bunch of damage, I might still be able to get myself back into this, as long as I trade properly. Because he does have that 3rd base, he did, you know, sufficiently get probes there. And
Scarlett has a lot of Banelings here. I feel like GunGFuBanDa, I wish he had put down some Stage Swords with the energy they had left in those Oracles, but didn't, and so that means that you're not really going to have a chance to catch any of this Zerg out. Archons, though, they are a good deterrent for this kind of army, especially without Muscular Augments, which is now going to be finishing to give those Hydras enough speed to walk away. But yeah, this army is kind of countered by the Archon, as we do see Zealot run by here into the 3rd base, just trying to be annoying, trying to find damage, and it's 3 more drones, and also actually a supply block there for Scarlett as an Overlord is knocked down. But +2 on the way for GunGFuBanDa. Storm is on the way as well. He has his 4th base up. And so, despite, you know, the relative mediocrity of that charge lot push, he has worked himself into a very, very good spot here. And once Storm, you know, once he has High Templars with energy, that makes it so much harder for these Hydralists to really engage on the Protoss armies. Of course, they want to walk up, they want to get in range and start to fire away. Storms, they have to move away. They are so squishy.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when what you got with those Hydralists is Zerglings and Banelings. If you had a bunch of Roaches, maybe, you know, they can tank a bit more of that damage for you, but with the army that you have here, Scarlett, it's very hit or miss when it is concerned with Storm.
It's such a big army, though. I mean, 120 army supply right now for Scarlett. I mean, it's even on workers. There's a 50 supply difference just to show you how massive Scarlett has been building up on 4 base. I mean, this feels like something that Dark would do. Dark stays on 4 bases, gets this massive army, not Scarlett, but here we are in game number 2. Scarlett trying to make it work as...
I like the arc.
On in.
Setting up everywhere around little pockets, making it difficult to get super efficient storms here. Still tearing down the Zealots one by one. The Archon's now in a lot of trouble as well as the Hydra start pushing forwards. I think we may have at least this base killed off. And with the amount of units that GunGfu is sending in trying to protect this, I don't think he's going to be able to defend the next base either, Titan.
I mean, the Immortals, they're not doing the work that they need. They don't have that extra damage against light units. But, I mean, it's just Hydra's left. It's so close. Scarlett, just with a swell of units on 4 bases, trying to push it down. It feels like she's going to be able to. She snipes the base. She's not going to commit further in just yet, but it was so close. GunGFuBanDa, he tried to hold those storms for as long as possible. But again, when you're only working off 2 High Templar, you just do not have the energy necessary to really deal with it. Now we're going to see more High Templar warped in. Absolutely what he needs. But as you said, Scarlett, that concave, that just patience, having that group of Hydralisks on the right side of the base, having her other units set up outside the choke point. Yeah. So well done.
Just really utilizing the kind of... I don't want to say bad placement of GunGfu. He just didn't quite rotate in time, right? And then you suddenly are in with those Hydras and you have the option to set up like that. Of course, GunGfu would have had the opportunity to deny that space to Scarlett as well if he had a couple of Zealots in the area with the storms, right? To just deny that movement, but yeah, spotting the opportunity by Scarlett and quickly acting upon it. Those are 2 key things to StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I mean, we saw GunGFuBanDa had a bit of a Zest Bank. He has now spent it to get back up to 131 supply. But Scarlett, I mean, at the same time, she's gone up her 5th base. That is going to be attacked, though. Charge lots finding their way on in, but a run by as well from Scarlett. Finds 4 probes. A nice pull there from GunGFuBanDa. Is still just not in the good position, though. It's 178 supply to a 133. Finds 4 drones with that run by, but at this point, Scarlett, she's gotten up to 82 drones. And losing 4 when you're on 82, it really doesn't have that big of an impact. More Zealot run-bys being set up, but it's only 3 or 4. It's not these massive swells of Zealots that you would see, you know, from a Protoss who's on a really safe economy. I mean, you're thinking someone like Zest, where he sets up these massive Zealot run-bys. We're not really seeing that. It's just these small little groups. They're very easy to clean up, but they are buying GunGFuBanDa time. He's working on his +3. 4th base is coming back up. And you just want to see, I mean, something else here, an additional form of splash. I mean, Disruptors, they're not the best against Ling Hydra, but they are great against Lurkers, which is the natural follow-up to this build and what we're seeing Scarlett go into, but it's going to be the Fleet Beacon for the Protoss player.
Oh, exactly. Well, let's rebuild this 4th base now. How many observers do we have available? I think that is 0 right now. I guess GunGfu perhaps feeling that he needs every penny in an army unit at the moment, and that does kind of make sense given the situation he found himself in here. But yeah, again, that does make it a lot more difficult to be at the right place at the right time. Now with the static defense set up properly, it should be a lot easier to defend these 4th bases, but I can also quite easily see a situation where now Scarlett with the entire map under her control. Where is GunGfu gonna go? Where is his next expansion? This one probably the most likely. Alright.
Yeah,
that's a lot of looks.
Oh my. I was gonna say, they just show up, and I mean, this army is actually split up. There's a run by also on the other side, but there's storms there for GunGFuBanDa set up, static defense on these 4 bases. Mothership and carriers on the way. I don't think this run by Scarlett, yeah, she's not going to be able to find that in. I think the real question is, though, the Lurkers obviously are great, but GunGFuBanDa is already preparing for the late game as a bit of a preemptive storm there. But what is Scarlett's setup for the late game going to be? I mean, does she really even know that this is on the way? No, she has no information about the Fleet Beacon. So if GunGFuBanDa is able to hide these units, it can absolutely surprise Scarlett, because right now she is cutting her Hydralisk count to morph in these Lurkers, and that's not something that she's necessarily as keen on replacing, because as far as she knows, there's no air threat that she needs to deal with right now.
Yeah, and 2 carriers are about to be ready. Now Scarlett most I imagine is going to have a fight here before it will bump up to 4 carriers, but I mean, it's still quite a considerable amount, especially if you only have those, like you mentioned, 12 Hydralisk remaining to really fight against them. No Vipers there either, or any investors. I guess if she had a couple of investors, you know, a little bit easier, but... And GunGFu has been on top of his High Templar control so far as well, so...
Yeah. No, I mean, looking back at that first fight at the 4th GunGFu, he kept those 2 High Templar alive for so long. Even though they only had 1 storm each, he was trying to make sure that he found as good a storm as possible. Eventually, he had to use it in a suboptimal position. But here we go, Scarlett. She's on 2 fronts. We're going to see the lurkers try and commit on it, but immediate storm there and the cannon. And man, GunGFuBanDa is controlling both of these fronts so well.
Yeah, this doesn't really seem to be a way in. A slow, methodical approach, but still the question is there that how much money is Scarlett gonna get, you know, to throw at this iron curtain that GunGFu has set up.
Oh, here we go. She's committing on to the 3rd. Good storm again onto the lurkers, though. Immediately morph into the Archon, but now they're going to push forward again. Another storm is finding a lot of damage. A lot of these lurkers on yellow and orange HP, but you just can't commit in as GunGFuBanDa. He doesn't have his whole army here. The lurkers are just that strong, but here we go. He's actually coming in from 2 angles. He has the mothership. He has 4 carriers. Scarlett just has to get on out. She is not able to fight it. 3 corruptors on the way. She's actually building an extra spire here by mistake, I think, with the greater spire morphing in. It is, I mean, it's only 200 minerals and gas, but, I mean, mind you, that's 200 gas, and she doesn't have the biggest gas bank right now. She is trying to mine from the Rich Vespine geyser here at her 6th base, but she's still waiting for that to come and have full mining. And at this point, GunGFuBanDa is just continued to start getting production. He's getting to maxed out. He has +1 on his carriers. He's looking to +2, and now he's looking to press down the base, and there's just nothing that Scarlett can do right now. Vipers are out. They don't have the most energy. We're going to get 1 yank. The corruptor count is not high, though.
Oh, no.
Is going to slowly try.
Is he? Wait, is he? Oh, no.
Now, finally there. There we go. They commit on in. You just see how hard it is for her right now to deal with the carriers.
Yeah.
More corruptors on the way will allow her to. But still, for now, GunGFuBanDa full control over this map.
War Prism there, accidentally being denied by Scarlett as well. She still has a good amount of units set up everywhere to kind of defend those types of things, right? Really, really well done.
Oh, DTs.
Where are these DTs?
Yeah, top left-hand side of the map. I mean, GunGFuBanDa, he's been very active with units. He has a Warp Prism right now in the bottom right. That's going to get chased away by a Corruptor, but you also have DTs here at the 7th. Just trying, or the 6th, just trying to be annoying, trying to knock down the hatchery. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to. But man, this is very, I don't know, this is really just kind of awkward for Scarlett at the current moment. Right now, 16 Corruptors. She's finally up to a decent count. 11 Lurkers on the ground. But it's also 6 Immortals. Ooh, look at these Storms. High Templar getting caught out, but the Storms are good from GunGFuBanDa. Manages to save 2, loses 3. Could have been worse there for him, though.
What it feels like to me is that we're not seeing Scarlett get certain opportunities that we see a lot of other Zergs kind of find themselves with massive bailing run-bys. It's hasn't really occurred. Most of the exchanges have still been between army units and army units, and well, it's fairly equal, but GunGFu has kind of been keeping up at a steady pace with the base count as well. He has been expanding further and further. That bottom right side would be an incredible addition if he manages to have that locked down with some shield batteries and cannons, and we're not too far away from that situation.
Yeah, I mean, 7 carriers here for GunGFuBanDa. He's working on +2 shields, already has the +2 flyer attack. Oh, Scarlett has to be so careful. You just can't get caught out with these lurkers unburrowed. As, I mean, more run-bys coming through from GunGFuBanDa. He's been slowly picking up the pace on these. But Scarlett is up to 6 bases.
Yeah.
But, I mean, with that given, it's also against the 6 bases of GunGFuBanDa. The Protoss has evened that out. As, oh no, Lurker's getting caught out. Scarlett! A bad move command is going to lose 2.
It's fine, it's more supply for Corruptors.
Oh! Mothership goes down. As there we go, now the Corruptor's trying to come in on him, but the Storm so far. So much damage, and one of the Vipers falling especially. Very quick target fire there from GunGFuBanDa. Basically, we really haven't seen this carrier count go down. The first one falls, 6 carriers still left, and it's a lot of very weak Corruptors with Storms still available. Feedback goes down. I think actually Storm Energy is now out for GunGFuBanDa. Still so hard for Scarlett to find an engagement though, as just fishing with the Corruptors.
Just couldn't quite get the fight to go in the correct way.
Oh, she's got. Is this it? Collapsing on in. Corruptors going on in. There's a storm that has been able to be pulled up as the Archon is trying to put in the work. Carriers are slowly falling as the Corruptors, they are going to knock them down. And Scarlett, she finds the collapse. She finds the fight. And GunGFuBanDa, he overstayed his welcome.
Yeah, managed to clear out at least one base. The bank for Scarlett has dropped a little bit there as well, only on 56 workers, so that is going to be difficult to reclaim, get all that money back, and, well, on the other side, of course, it's going to be quite a while for all those carriers to be reconstructed also, and is that even really what you want to be going for right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot of supply here for the Protoss. 5 Infestors on the way. Scarlett just adding on all the Spellcaster. Does have 4 carriers back built up. But as you said, it's still 11 Corruptors. 7 more being added on. This is one of those situations where maybe you switch into that ground army. You know, maybe you just try and do that tech switch as the Protoss. That's where your strength is with those immediate warpins. As Zealots are going to catch out a few Queens here and should be able to try and knock down that base. With +3, they do a lot of damage. And so, yeah, that hatchery is going to go down. GunGFuBanDa, though, doesn't right-click on it, so Scarlett will be able to save it, as he's now going to look to try and push up into the right side of this map, clear up the creep. But, I mean, it's crazy. Just one fight there from Scarlett, one collapse, and it's all it takes, and she's able to pull herself into this game, into a decent position, actually.
Yep. I mean, it has been quite back and forth overall, especially with... I almost forgot that GunGFu, he lost his 4th base, remember? Yeah. Scarlett came in there and just shut it down, and I honestly thought he was going to lose more bases after that, but Scarlett backs away, not fancying the odds that she was given there as much, and now suddenly it's just been going back and forth for such a period of time, and well, in all honesty, I think GunGFu might be in a slightly better position. Let me recheck the overall army compositions, however. I love the fact that Scarlett is throwing in those Broodlords. They can really help out. In particular, if we're not seeing too many carriers and stuff being reproduced, you can repurpose the Corruptors, right? You can make an anti-ground force all of a sudden out of those units, which really helps negate some of the trickery that GunGFu may have been able to do otherwise. Is this going to be another big collapse here? Ooh, things are lining up slightly, but not quite the time.
Yeah. I mean, right now, the resources lost, what, 2,800? 28,000 to 26,000. It's very close. GunGFuBanDa has actually lost more gas in total. But, yeah, I mean, right now, just rebuilding carriers, I mean, I feel like even Tempest would not be a bad add-on here. Of course, they're a much slower unit. They're a much more methodical unit. But we have seen some players experiment with adding on Tempest just because they add that extra range to this army composition that usually has to just be so close to the Zerg that it's easy for the Zerg to kite it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's really good, the Tempest, to snipe down the Vipers and stuff with as well, right? Really zone them out. As long as you have those Oracle shots, they just can't get close, and you just can't get Vipers anymore because of it. And when you're not catching Vipers, you can just shoot away at Spore Crawlers and stuff at a distance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is... I think it's a unit that I would like to see GunGFuBanDa add in. Obviously, though, just more carriers just kind of increases their power level exponentially. But when you're facing a player as good as Scarlett, I think it's hard to bet on the fact that she's not going to be able to just focus fire and pick all those off, as we are going to see some lurkers go down. But +3 is being rounded out for every single player here. +3 shields for GunGFu, +3 flyer weapons and carapace for Scarlett. And once these Corruptors have +3, I mean, once these Broodlords as well, you're looking at them with +3. This army just shreds through everything that GunGFuBanDa has. I mean, the Corruptors alone are going to be able to one-shot the one-shot the carriers, but the Mothership actually survives there. Nice feedback onto the Viper, and with only one Viper left, that does make it a bit harder for Scarlett to try and find these abducts.
Yeah, trying to bring in a couple of those Ultralisks now as well. Not quite ready, as GunGFu is patrolling the skies close by. Not a good feedback on another Viper, as that is all the Viper energy? That is all the Viper energy. There's no further Viper energy. That would have been a Viperless fight there. Perhaps a pretty good one, as the, you know, those abilities are really what shut down your interceptors there, usually.
Scarlett wants to try and pressure this base, but Storm goes down. Stack defense is also on the way, but Ultras are now here, and of course Ultras, they make that math just a little bit harder. Some nice Baneling connections there for Scarlett. Same time though, Corruptors almost get caught out. Storm catches the tail end of them, but this is how we start to see some. I mean, this is especially how we've seen Serral start to add this into his late game PvZ, where he adds in the Ultralists, because they're just such a strong ground threat, and it's so hard for the Protoss to really deal with it when they're not building a lot of Immortals. As here we go, Broodlords are also collapsing on in. Both players just suddenly drop down to 150 supply. As the base is going to be saved. And yeah, I mean, look at that. Spore Forest is being moved up. This is just, I mean, this is ultra late game PvZ. This is Scarlett knowing what she needs to do to prepare. Rocks are going to get knocked down. Corruptors are sharking around. Still only one Viper, though. Oh, the fungal! I mean, recall has to be popped. I don't know if the units are going to be saved, though. Looks like Scarlett doesn't want to commit on in, and Storm actually does a good job of zoning out the Corruptors, but you just see the Broodlords. I mean, they just chase down. The Broodlings chase down those High Templar. Finally, Tempests are being added on, but I feel like it's so late compared to when GunGFuBanDa needed them, which is, you know, right about now.
Yeah, but GunGFu, he did manage to kill 2 bases, perhaps 3 bases here on Scarlett's side as well, while that was happening. And Scarlett may be maxed out once more, but the bank might not be filling up as quickly as the one for GunGFu here. GunGFu having a bit of trouble as well, though, getting himself back up to 200 it seems. Or perhaps he's just leaving a little bit of supply left there for Warpers and Warping.
Oh, no, the Broodlords!
Oh, no, the Broodlords.
No,
where are they coming from? That is
no. The Fungals, though, go off. They're going to catch a lot of this army as... Oh, Neural Parasites coming in onto the carriers. Scarlett, she's waiting to collapse on in until the Storms are gone. And now collapsing on in. Mothership is going to get targeted down. The Corruptors still stand strong. The Tempest trying to fire away from the back. And the DPS is good from this Protoss army, but I don't know if it's enough as the carriers are falling. And Scarlett so shows how you fight this Protoss army. You don't commit on in immediately. You wait for those Storms to be gone. As even though the Corruptors are all low, they are going to be able to snipe every single last air unit. And sure, GunGFuBanDa has a massive bank, but Scarlett once again wins the big fight.
Loses the main base, so Hive Tech now unavailable. It's going to be a while before we see any further Vipers on the field. And GunGFu, I mean, this is where it's starting to pay off. All the base sniping he's been doing so far, putting Scarlett in a bit of a treacherous ground, economically speaking. Now gonna lose a spawning pool as well. Things are just getting difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I love this. Just a Warp Prism with some Zealots is so hard to deal with right now for Scarlett, but she doesn't want to commit Corruptors to that, because obviously there's still the air army that she has to worry about from GunGFuBanDa. As, I mean, yeah, sniping the Broodlords there is so big. That's so much supply that Scarlett lost. She still has a few alive. You know, if those had all gone down, I think that might have just been game. Because Scarlett, she doesn't have that massive bank. You know, she is working on trying to rebuild it. She's working on, you know, the 6th and 7th base is finally going to start mining soon, hopefully. But as you said, GunGFuBanDa is sniping that rich Vespene Geyser base so many times. It really did stop Scarlett from growing.
Have you seen the units lost tab at any point? How is it this close? How is it this close? 30 minutes in.
We are, I think, it's almost exactly even. 1,000 more minerals lost for Scarlett, 1,000 more gas lost for GunGFuBanDa, and you see that in the resources right now.
My brain is just trying to tell me, like, okay, well, that should mean that the Zerg is winning then, right? But it's only been 31 probes overall killed, which seems like quite a couple, but 30 minutes CVP, that's, you know, normally above hundreds.
Yeah.
Because the Baneling run-bys are so common, but again, Scarlett just playing a different style, kind of just sticking true to the, I'm just gonna disintegrate your army whenever I have the opportunity to.
I mean, the hard part now is you're looking at these lower army counts, and now these Tempests, they become so much more efficient, especially without Vipers. Again, Scarlett has not replaced her Vipers.
Yeah, no, she doesn't have Hive. Only now Leia coming up, man. There's like it's gonna take a long time. I don't think we even have an infestation pit, so she was just miles and miles away tech-wise from remaking any of those.
It's a really rough position right now for Scarlett. She doesn't have the caster that she needs. Of course, the fungal growths are great, and you can take another great fight with fungals. I mean, if you fungal even like these High Templar here, that can just suddenly be the game piece. The Corruptors can collapse on in without any issue. It's just, it is a delicate dance here right now for these players as the Ultras try and commit on into that 6th base for GunGFuBanDa, which is getting close to being mined out, and that's the one issue right now for the Protoss. GunGFuBanDa does not have a 7th base. Scarlett has built hers.
So Scarlett, it's always so cool to see that type of stuff. She's sending in the Broodlings and then brings back one Broodling, which she friendly fires for, so that the other Broodlords can get more Broodlings in there. And then just keep shooting from a distance. This is how you turn your Broodlords into Tempest yourself.
Look at this
fight here. This base is not going to be available for Scarlett for very much longer, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, taking this down is big. This is the 8th base for Scarlett. You just can't let this. If the Zerg gets 2 more bases at this point in the game, that's it. It's over. They'll just hold that. You have to push into them as the Protoss right now. GunGFuBanDa, I mean, he's really betting on the fact that he has bases still available for him to take. That's right now what he's betting on, is that he's going to be able to take those bases eventually if he finds a fight. So he can't let Scarlett take up any of his side of the map. It's absolutely just not. He can't allow this to happen. Infestation Pit is on the way, though. Scarlett will soon be back up to Hive Tech, and once she is, then we're looking back to Vipers. Then we're looking back to those spellcasters that make it so hard for GunGfu to take a good fight. I just feel like he needs to do something before that Hive Tech is back up, but the Infestors make it so difficult. Those fungal growths just shut down any pushing attempts here for the Protoss.
Yeah, especially with the Broodlords there as well. As long as they're in the right area, that is such a lethal combination, especially against gateway forces. You're just kind of stuck. And in particular with Starkers, right? You're anticipating a certain mobility, and then suddenly that mobility is just taken away from you. It can be very rough.
Look at this. Broodlord's in the main, just going to try and knock down some of this tech. I mean, actually the Templar Archives going down is massive. No more High Templars here for GunGFuBanDa. Of course, he doesn't have a lot of gas regardless of that, but still, not having that option for those units for Archons is massive for these further fights. The Stargates are going to go down. This base is just going to be abandoned. GunGFuBanDa, he's not protecting it. He says, listen, your Broodlords are across the map. I'm actually going to push into your bases, and I think it's absolutely the right call. You have to force the Zerg to respond to your movement right now. What he's doing.
Alright, Scarlett losing another base, but being patient and careful with her army. Because that is where the true magic, right, kind of lies at this moment. It's very likely to come down to one big army fight. Unless if that army fight is going to be very equally in army losses. Most likely it will just be that one more big roughhouse action at some point.
I mean, GunGFuBanDa, right now, he's actually maxed out. Is working with a slightly larger army. He's also getting up that 7th base, though, and that's so important for him to have. So I don't think he really wants to commit to a fight right now. These Nexi, he's trying to keep them alive because they are all of his gateways. But here we go, massive fungal growth! As Scarlett trying to collapse on into these ground units. We need to see a recall. We need something, but they're all going to go down, and the recall is on the wrong Nexus anyway. As Scarlett just absolutely decimates the ground army that was left of GunGFuBanDa, and now this other army that he's been pushing into the main base, I mean, sure, he's going to be able to get spires, but guess what? Scarlett already rebuilt a spire all the way on the other side of the map, preempting this. And this is just now so hard for GunGFuBanDa.
I do like, in a way, the base trade situation here for GunGfu, just because of the Broodlords, right? Broodlords so incredibly slow. It's going to be a long while for them to get across the map all the way to the bottom right side and continue cleaning up bases. On the other side of things, right, is this Protoss army already crushing through, and it's killed most in the main base. There's a couple of buildings there left, but not much. Just the extractors, really.
3 Vipers are available for Scarlett. I mean, GunGFuBanDa, he has had amazing High Templar control this game. He's been able to, pretty much every time, actually feed back those Vipers, stop them from getting decent abducts, and so He's going to need to do that again. But right now, the 7th base is up. That's massive amounts of mining here for the Protoss. Gas is now going to be started. We need to see him also take this Rich Vespene Geyser base. He's going to be doing that, but the production for the Protoss is just so nominal. Like, there's no real... There's just nothing here for GunGFuBanDa. He's been rebuilding the Templar Archives. Gateway count, though? It's at 2. And those are now going to start to fall down. There's only 1 gateway that's really able to warp in. 2 Stargates.
Lost this fleet beacon just now.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Void Rays wouldn't be bad.
True.
If he has to build Void Rays, it's not the worst for GunGFuBanDa. Just the issue is right now, Scarlett has had this whole time to build a bank. She's working at almost 6,000 minerals and 1,000 gas. And the gas is...
Oh my!
No, okay,
that's pretty fun.
I mean, this is actually a lot of energy that Scarlett's using just for a Stalker. And that's absolutely worthwhile for GunGFuBanDa. If you get the energy out of these spellcasters, then you can win the fight. Because the fungal growth, the abducts, that's what's really going to start to pick him apart.
Yeah.
But with the storms, you know, if you can beat the air army, then maybe, but still it's 21 corruptors. It's such a hard position for the Protoss. I mean, what do you even do from this point? You try and protect your bases? You try and get up...
Yeah.
I mean, static defense maybe, but...
They both kind of have still this quarter section of the map, right? It's kind of funny how it rotated in a sense, bottom left, bottom or top right, and now it's, you know, just turn it a quarter, and here we are. It feels weird. It's like a map I haven't seen before, right? And the starting locations in the top left and bottom right. But
honestly, we need a map like that. Why don't we get maps like that?
Why don't we?
Come on, switch it around. Ooh, nice
Four-player maps
back there. Yeah.
That's what those are. Oh, that's the Void Rays, by the way, you were talking about. That's good to see.
No, I think the Void Rays are really good here for GunGfu. I mean, it's really the only option he has, but the Void Rays, they offer a counter to the Corruptors. They just fight a little bit better into the Ultras as well. But here we go, Scarlett committing on into this base, and this is the base that you really can't afford to lose, although it's just the ground army, and if that gets cleaned up, then hey, that's pretty worthwhile. But Scarlett just pulls out, gets the Nexus, and gets away. And yeah, I mean, this game is just on a knife's edge right now. It's Scarlett, she's been playing passive, she's been waiting, she's been buying her time. And it's been giving GunGFuBanDa time. You know, he's been rebuilding. He has been trying to get back into a decent position. It just feels like even with 6 carriers, 4 Tempests, and now Void Rays being added on, I don't know. There's no static defense. There's no cannons here to stop, to help. We are going to get those finally added on, which is good.
Yeah.
There's just so much that needs to be done for GunGFuBanDa to actually win this game when you're looking at the 148 army supply of Scarlett.
Would be quite a big deal if they were able to move those cannons and shoot batteries from the bottom right side to a place like this that's now under heavy assault all of a sudden. 2 Stargates there that were participating in the production, the robotics bay as well available, but that does get saved for the time being.
Oh, here we go. GunGfu is on top of it. Wasn't quite ready, but Scarlett didn't actually commit to trying to dive on top of those air units. Again, another way that the Zerg can win the game is if you just catch the Protoss unaware, you can just dive on top of the carrier, just start to one-shot them. You have 21 Corruptors.
True.
You know, you're not really worried about this taking 2 volleys to kill any of these air units. They do so much damage, especially with the +3. And mind you, actually, GunGFuBanDa, he doesn't have +3 vehicle plating. Doesn't have +1 ground armor, you know?
Oh, yeah,
that's true. Those durability upgrades are missing here, as Yoink onto Void Ray is just immediately destroyed. But Tempests are being produced, and if you can get a big Tempest count here for GunGFuBanDa, it's just going to come down to a war of attrition, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. 40 minutes in now, Scarlett not looking to push in because of the static defense, and GunGfu not looking to push in because of the static defense. Also, both their armies absolutely terrifying and are capable of instant destruction at any time. So they are just kind of stuck in their own corner here, waiting to try and get to 200 supply again, I imagine. Scarlett being a bit more proactive, of course, with these units, but again, like, she's killing buildings, right? But she's not really killing army units.
Yeah. I mean, I think Scarlett right now, she's just building up this bank. She doesn't have a lot of gas, and she knows that. If she just spends her gas maxing out on air units and then doesn't have it for a rebuild, that's one way you can lose the game. So she's just been building up this bank. This is a situation that we see a lot of Zergs do this in, where even though they're at like 160 supply with this big mineral bank, they don't actually spend it on too much, because what do you get here? Zerglings really aren't going to be that useful at this point. There's so much static defense. I mean, obviously they are good for run-bys, but it's just, it's hard to call, and so she's saving it up. She's going to be waiting until she knows exactly what she needs to make. But as you said, GunGFuBanDa, he's going to be maxed out soon. And once this Protoss army is maxed out again, suddenly there's a chance. I mean, 9 Tempests with +3, they can one-shot pretty much any unit if they all fire on it.
Yeah, this is starting to feel like a challenge as to who knows the best army composition.
Oh, Mothership is barely managed to get off the time warp, but it's still going to go down as feedbacks come through onto the Vipers. Obviously, losing the Mothership is pretty unfortunate there for GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah.
Recalls away that Archon. I mean, just trying to save as much as he can.
It is something that just kind of happens. It is a big investment, as we are seeing Scarlett starting to take the overall lead in resources lost, but surprisingly, of course, still kind of behind on the overall supply. Her mineral count is very strong still, but like you said before, the gas, still better than GunGFu, I suppose.
Yeah, I think total resources lost. Yeah, GunGFuBanDa losing so much more, actually.
Yeah, right.
In terms of buildings, especially, is what you're looking at. I mean, 18 Archons going down. 3 Motherships have been sniped. A lot of it is in just the high quality of the units and the buildings that Scarlett has been able to get rid of. She's just posturing. She's pushing the creep right now. She's trying to push up this Spore Crawler forest. I mean, it's not that many Spore Crawlers, though. 15 Spores. It's not a lot. They're not all here at the front. I think some of them are actually still back, at the other bases. But Scarlett, she's above 10,000 minerals at this point. This is about as much money as she's going to have for the whole game as that last base is mining out. And so now she has the full picture of what she has to work with. It's 11,000 minerals, maybe 12,000 towards the end, and about 2,600 gas. That is it. So now Scarlett knows if she commits in, this is what she has to rebuild with. It is just this. Is a nice pull there onto High Templar. As look at this GunGFuBanDa, he's actually sacrificing probes at this point. He says, listen, my probe count's a bit too high. This base,
Yep,
now
like
be under threat.
Zerglings should be easy to replace. The probes now attacking the extractor over here as well. Not much they're doing, but you know what? They'll be eaten at some point, and some more supply is going to be available there for GunGFu. So Scarlett's not even really dealing with it right now. There we go. Okay, a couple of Zerglings coming. Doesn't want to lose the hive, of course. Or get it
Ship is being rebuilt.
low.
Yeah, Mothership now back on the way. 4 more gateways. GunGFu, he's preparing. He knows that if a big fight happens and it is pretty even, it's going to come down to actually rebuilding ground armies. Again, the feedbacks here from GunGFuBanDa. So many times Scarlett has those Vipers forward to try and find some sort of an adduct, and so many times GunGFu has a High Templar ready to counter that. And man, here we go. It's coming to a culmination here. The Tempest, they're pushing forward. They want to start to push back the Spore Crawler Forest. And there we go. Scarlett, 7 Corruptors. She says, all right, now the fight's going to happen. Now I build my units. The Corruptors stacking up. Vipers, they have enough energy, I think, for 1 adduct. No, they don't even have that energy. They're going to need to sap it away here from a Spore Crawler.
There you go.
Man, this game.
Yeah, no, it is. It's been such a tightrope for so long, and it shows how important this tournament is for these players, right? It's a lot on the line here, and you don't want to go down into the knockout bracket too soon, as you won't have that second lifeline anymore.
Yeah.
So every precaution is being taken, every lesson learned in the back of their minds being repeated over and over again, as they are trying to find the best possible situation here with the utmost care. I love these stasis traps as well. I would like to see a couple more. He only has the 1 Oracle.
More Void Rays on the way as well. Stasis is going to be triggered there by the Changelings. But look at the creep spread as well from Scarlett. There's so much of the map that she has under her control. It is essentially this. It is this corner. This is campaign Zerg right now versus GunGFuBanDa. He is holding on at Ire. This is the last mission where your only objective is to survive, as the Zerg had just completely dominated this map. And if he can hold on, I mean, this isn't even like This doesn't even feel like the Queen of Blades. This feels like, you know, this is the Swarm. There is nothing more to be said about it. And for Scarlett, I mean, you just have to find that angle, and that's what she's looking for. But the Tempest make it so difficult. Void Rays being added on as well.
I love how patient Scarlett is being as well with the rest of the money she still has. Just kind of being like, alright, so the army she has is quite formidable already. Doesn't quite need to be at 200, I suppose, but as soon as you lose a big portion here, as soon as you notice that GunGFu made a committal to a change of his army composition, then the opportunity for Scarlett to readjust is still there, and that is a big thing, right?
Yeah. Another run by here. On the long distance mining for GunGFuBanDa is really annoying. Gonna see those get on out. I mean, right now the Protoss is protecting his last base, and I think that's absolutely the right call to make. 5,000 minerals for the Protoss, but the gas is out, and that means there's no more rebuilding this air army for GunGFuBanDa. That is it. Sure, Scarlett has gas. She can rebuild some units. No, the Protoss cannot. This is it. If there is a fight and he loses the tech units, there is nothing left. And so, I mean, we're just gonna have to see how well can you take this fight as the Protoss. I mean, there's a little bit of gas left at this final base, but every other geyser has been mined out. There's 4 geysers left on the map. Mineral patch wise, we're almost out. I mean, how many times have you seen this map get mined out? We're at the point where the timer bug has happened.
Oh yeah, look at that. We made it.
This is. I mean, again, Scarlett, she's not going to get eliminated if she loses this game, but she's playing to pretty much secure her advancement onto Group Stage 2. If you go 2-0 in this group, you're essentially through. You know, it's a really good score to be at. There's still a chance that you don't, but especially beating the other top runner in the group.
And I feel like the difficulty here for these two players really is as well, like, if one of them attacks the other one, they're just going to have the advantage, isn't it? And neither of these players really feeling willing to give that other player the advantage. And well, we don't really see games, well, I guess games like chess, right? You still have a lot on the board, but sometimes the players are just like, well, I guess I don't want to attack, you don't want to attack, we should try to just have a draw then and do it again. But it's not something you really do with StarCraft. You will wait for, well, someone trying to get the upper hand at some point.
Yeah, I mean, right now we almost have every single upgrade in the game.
Yeah.
The units count.
Except
I mean,
for those
7
armor
High
upgrades.
Templar. Yes. I mean, and that's the crazy part. I think that might be like what kind of kicks GunGFuBanDa in the back of the end here, is the fact that you don't have these armor upgrades. These units are not as durable as you would like. I mean, sure, it's just for the ground units, but the High Templar having a bit more HP on them would not hurt the Fusells that there are. But he has finally gotten +3 vehicle or ship plating. So now the carriers and the Tempests are a bit stronger. 9 Tempests, 8 carriers, 10 High Templar for GunGFuBanDa, along with the 4 Void Rays. And now he's going towards the Spore Crawler Forest, which is just absolutely massive. As Scarlett pushing forward, Yoinks on the Tempest, absolutely massive. Storm goes down, but snipes too.
Okay, Bungle on the High Templar, but no follow-up there, quite ready. The Oracle is an integral part of this attack as well. You need to have those units to have a bit of extra vision to really utilize the Tempest to their fullest degree, because they are fantastic at sniping away at the Spore Crawler Forest, but as long as they can see it, right? And otherwise, you just put yourself up a little bit too close for those Vipers and such to punish you every time you try. As well. Ooh, there it goes. Well, that's that's the trouble with the Oracle, I suppose, sometimes. Oh man,
here we go. GunGFuBanDa, he's trying to push forward. He's trying to find. I mean, he's just trying to find his way forward, but it's just so hard right now. Scarlett's army is absolutely massive.
There's this chase scene of 2 Corruptors with a Warp Prism as well, just somewhere on the map.
It looks like they finally got it. But supplies are even. I mean, GunGFuBanDa, he has more workers actually.
This is a lot of High Templar here. Nice storm, okay. Transforms into an Archon, but those Ultralists, you can't really storm those.
Yeah. There's 2 more High Templar going down here for GunGFuBanDa. I mean, at this point, honestly, I think you just sack some workers. I mean, you can't really, I don't know though, what do you build? You can't add on Zealots. They're not really the best right now unless they get on top of the Infestors.
What do you build?
It is really just a tough situation right now for the Protoss against Scarlett. She's buying her time. She says, I know that this game, you know, realistically, I should win this game. As long as I just keep playing this out, I should win this game. And so she's not rushing anything. She has 37 Corruptors. Listen, I know I can beat this air army if I get on top of it. And that's just the thing. She has to be on top of it. She can't get stormed. And that's why she can't just try and end the game. This is...
Well, with the 2 more Oracles coming up and the Tempest, I feel like GunGFu's plan is going to be to try and just start barraging the front of Scarlett's base, especially with all these shield batteries and such coming up here. Trying to make a bit of a move, claiming some more territory. Nice joints there on the Void Rays. Another side attempt of aggression.
I love this from GunGFuBanDa. He's actually setting up with the extra minerals instead of using on units. He's just setting up shield batteries, setting up cannons, these little outposts that he can push from. And it's a really, really smart idea. I mean, we've seen Neeb do stuff like this. High Templar. Are they going to get caught out? Yeah, another fungal growth. One High Templar goes down, the second one survives. But any High Templar falling is absolutely massive here for Scarlett.
Yep. Those High Templar are really the key units, as you said before. They are the unit that has been making life difficult for the Infestors as well as the Vipers. There we go. I'm losing my mind now. 53 minutes in. And, well, still looking at each other from across the battlefield, anxious. And who can blame him? Who can blame him with so much on the line? The Spore Crawler Forest has grown quite a bit. We'll have the opportunity to move backwards as well, right? And then just negate the entirety of the shield battery forest as well.
Scarlett gets rid of, uses 2 abducts to actually get rid of that probe. But yeah, this this cannon and shield battery line that GunGFuBanDa is building up is absolutely insane. But of course, I mean, the one issue is, yes, it's good if you're taking small fights where you're just taking a little bit of damage, but when the big fight comes through, the only really useful thing here is the cannons, because those shield batteries are not going to heal through the one-shot potential of the Corruptors. So really, I think there should be more cannons here. The shield batteries, they're good, but at this point in the game, they really don't matter that much.
I guess it might help against fungal and you know, parasitic bomb, perhaps. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's just about it.
Yeah.
9 more probes going down. That does mean that more supply here for GunGFuBanDa. Oh, Broodlord's there, getting a little bit caught out. We see another one go down. As this is getting to the point where this is gonna be. We've been in this game for an hour. This started off with Scarlett sniping the 4th base after it was built, and then sniping it again with no cancel while it was rebuilding.
Yeah.
Like, this game started with Scarlett being in such a massive lead. At this point now, it's impossible to tell who's going to win until the fight actually happens, and that's just a question of who's going to attack first. I mean, the Spore Crawlers are moving forward. The shield battery and cannon line is moving forward. It's only a matter of time before these armies clash, and it's going to be a monumental fight.
Vipers on the prowl. No, not going to get it. A couple of Spore Crawlers do fall. This is really feeling, I don't know how familiar you are with Roman history, but there's this battle that supposedly happened between Caesar and Pompey in Spain. And instead of really fighting with one another, they were just vying for position. And the amount of walls that were apparently created during that time period in Spain, just lines of Roman barricades up against other Roman barricades through the entire countryside. This is very reminiscent of that in a sense. Because a lot of it comes down to whoever has the better position here will be able to claim the victory. Now, GunGFu some opportunity to keep pressuring this Spore Crawler forest back, but Scarlett can just kind of keep pulling back as well. And with how further GunGFu is going out, the more exposed his backline is going to be in the infrastructure now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much he still needs that infrastructure, to be fair.
I mean, there's no rebuilding at this point. You know, almost all the minerals are gone. There is, well, 30 minerals left on the map.
This still could turn into a draw, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If it's mostly just infrastructure, defensive infrastructure remaining here, then.
If there's if Scarlett cannot build enough units to actually get rid of the cannons after this big fight, or GunGFuBanDa can't build enough units to get rid of the Spore Crawlers and the Spines, then this could just draw.
This could draw, yeah.
This could just draw. At this point, neither player wants that, though. We're approaching 1 hour. I mean, I was gonna maybe say this felt like similar to. I mean, it's not perfect, but
No.
hear me out. Hear me out, all right? This is very similar. I mean, it feels like Hannibal of Barca here, pushing and just constantly into Roman territory, winning fight after fight. And then the Romans they scorchers, they put up a wall. They don't actually fight Hannibal's army.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what GunGFu is doing right now. He is like the third Roman emperor or general after like 3 others have fallen, and saying, yeah, no, I'm actually just not going to fight you. I'm not going to do that because you've beaten me so many other times. And, well, if history is going to repeat itself, then it might work. As Scarlett, she's fishing. She has the Vipers. She knows she wants to find the Abduct.
Ooh,
there we go, Mothership. Doesn't lose anything for it as well.
He can make one more Mothership. That's it.
Yep, there we go.
There it is.
Mothership.
Of course, of
Number
course.
5.
How can you refuse the Mothership?
Mothership number 5 on the way.
My goodness.
Scarlett, I mean, essentially, she's just playing the game of, listen, my army right now matches yours. I'm saving these minerals for after the fight. You know, eventually we're gonna fight, but at this point,
it might happen. Well, they might just delay it further and further. But it's gonna be slow regardless, as both these players just clearly preoccupied with trying to get poke damage dealt rather than just a full committed push, because a full committed push is just not gonna work in these situations for either of them.
And well, the shield battery and cannon line is pushed back a little bit here. Spore Crawler's moving back, and we're just seeing the constant repositioning here of these armies. I mean,
I imagine the rest of the tournament is already with group stage 2 as we.
Oh yeah, we're already. Here we get. You know what, guys? While we're in this game, let's give you an update. Lambo, Beyond, Creator, Bunny, Solar, Laser, Special, and Joe have all advanced to group stage 2 while this is happening.
There we go.
Spirit and Ryung are also, and Kellizer are all also through. So while this has been happening, we've had a lot of stuff, on the other side. So just so you don't miss that. Other players have advanced, while these players are still fighting to advance on. And this game is just.
Should I still have the production tab open?
No. Just switch it to units or have it off, honestly. That's what I've been doing. But yeah, I mean, right now for GunGFuBanDa, he has 1 Oracle left, so that's his vision right now, is that Oracle. As for Scarlett, you're working still with 3 Vipers. Those have this type 3 Infestors, so you still have the energy left on those units. 3 Ultras. Game of 3s right now here for Scarlett. 37 Corruptors, though. Still keeping that count high. 8 Tempests, 8 Carriers. 64 Interceptors, as right now, for GunGFuBanDa, I mean, what do you max out on even here? I think you just save it. Like, there's not really much more you can add to this army right now. You have no gas.
Just wait to see after the army clash, right? Or just a little bit, and then see what remains. And try to get a counter going for whatever remains for Scarlett. Scarlett, again, doing very similar stuff. I'm surprised that she stuck around 160 supply here for so long. Maybe still considering making more structures and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. GunGFuBanDa is pushing. The creep's starting to go down. The Spore Crawler line has been pushed back. The Tempest doing such a good job of zoning out this army.
Ooh, another attempt. Oh, those feedbacks, man. That is brutal.
Every time.
Yeah.
GunGFuBanDa has just been on top of it. I mean, it's as we've been saying, it's so hard for Scarlett to attack in this army because GunGFuBanDa has been so good with his High Templar control. Every time he moves back the carriers in the mothership, uses the High Templar to get the feedbacks, and that just buffers enough that the actual abduct is not able to go off. As now we're starting to see some of these spore crawlers fall, and GunGFuBanDa is starting to push this. I mean, of course, you still have to consider the fact that, hey, there's so much money in the bank for Scarlett.
Yep.
And so obviously, even when after this fight happens, once GunGFuBanDa actually decides to attack it, once he pulls that trigger, Scarlett is going to max out. Scarlett is going to use all of these minerals, going to add on more corruptors, add on more of whatever she needs, and use up the rest of that gas. So that's why GunGFuBanDa is taking this so slow. That's why he's not committing in. He just needs to try and get this in the best position he can. Oh my! Yeah.
Nice.
Recall just has to come out immediately. You can't risk that.
A lot of Tempest now away from this location, but doesn't look like Scarlett is going to try to jump on the opportunity, as it's still a formidable area, and those High Templars are still there to feed back your Vipers. Careful.
Oh,
yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Amazing feedbacks. God. It's just every time Scarlett not watching, GunGFuBanDa just walks it forward. He knows there's nothing to stop the ground army.
I don't think there was anything left to mine. I mean, there's like this one mineral patch with 145 minerals left, and I think that's it. I think that's it. Maybe a gas geyser somewhere?
No.
No.
We're going to see an ultra. No, it doesn't even go down. It's so tanky. The ultra doesn't even fall, but we're going to see these lanes cleaned up. But man, I mean, over an hour long in this game. Man, Kozan, you know, I couldn't have asked to do it with anybody else. This is a great. I'm glad we jumped into this series. But.
Yeah, well, we might be in trouble with that time overall because of these two.
You know what's actually crazy? In the time that this game has been going on,
yeah.
One group is finished.
Yep.
Group G is done.
Yeah.
She and Special have moved on.
Yeah.
As this is happening.
This isn't the first. Do they still both have another match to play after this?
The loser does. The loser has one more game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be tired out today, man. This is like, if they're going to approach every single game today like this, it's going to be. I don't know. We're going to be here tomorrow. That's what I'm going to tell you.
I'm going to miss my flight back home on Saturday. It's like, no, I got to cast StarCraft.
You thought you might miss it because of the casting from tomorrow. No, you're going to miss it because of the casting from today.
All right, so update. 2 investors have gone down. One of the Vipers did fall. And again, this is for GunGFuBanDa not really losing altogether that much. He still has 9 High Templars, still has his 8 carriers and Tempests. So he's been finding small wins here. Scarlett has not been able to engage into him. Again, it's just this stage of the game where it's just so difficult. I think the one issue, though, is if GunGFuBanDa actually pushes forward with his carriers and he loses enough interceptors. Remind me if I'm wrong, it's 25 gas for an interceptor. Or is it only 25 minerals?
I think it's just minerals.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was going to say, if it's gas, then that gas bank is low. I mean, there's no more High Templar, mind you. There's no more units that you can build here. So any gas losses are massive. Same can't be said for Scarlett. Again, she hasn't rebuilt anything yet. She absolutely has the ability to, as these, once again, creep is going to be cleaned up, and GunGFuBanDa in the last stand. This is 300 of Protoss, the last stand, slowly pushing back the Persian armies.
I mean, the supplies are still so close as well, which is so funny. It's been the entire game. I guess that's the only way you really get into situations like this.
Yeah.
But now that we're here, you know, it is quite something. Scarlett still has a good amount of way to fall back into, but I guess as Scarlett right now, you kind of want to find the best position just overall with these ramps. Seems like a pretty good spot, right? The best position for your spore crawlers, how far can you fall back? I guess if you fall back all the way behind this last hatchery, things might get difficult because you could just lose on the technicality of having lost all your buildings. Which again is something you got to be careful of. There's 2 workers remaining on the entirety of this map.
Honestly, I don't even know why there's 2. I mean, I guess GunGFuBanDa does need to
Wait.
build.
Oh, right, they turned into buildings, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, that's how Zerg works. I was like, did Scarlett only make 42 workers this entire game? No, Kozan, hold on.
Alright, I mean, here we are. I guess at this point, I mean, I've talked about some war generals. So so GunGFuBanDa in this situation, is he Leonidas? Is that what we're saying?
No.
Or no?
No, he has way too much, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, he's kind of on equal footing here.
I'm trying to. I can't.
It has a bit of the feeling of like the Fabian, the Delayer, and the Spartacus stuff, right? No?
That's it. Mothership gone.
Mothership, that's not gonna get replaced.
I mean, in total, 5 motherships. Finally, there's going to be no more here for GunGFuBanDa.
Got him. Run. Storm him again.
Oh, no. Wait, actually, if I go down, that'd be
warping
massive.
though. That is pretty nice.
Oh, massive. But Scarlett, she can push forward. She can start to try and knock down his cannons, but she doesn't want to commit into it.
Did Scarlett just try to neural a High Templar to feedback as well? Or? There was a infestor buried under the ground, trying to get close. The Oracle, that should go down. There we are. Gets the probe. Nothing to kill the probe, however.
There's 6 High Templar left. 4 infestors have been rebuilt. Scarlett is building something for the first time in about 20 minutes. Scarlett has built a unit. As now GunGFuBanDa, he's pulling the trigger. He says, "Listen, I have no mothership. I am losing High Templar. I need to push in, but Microbial Shroud goes down. Storm onto the Queens. They still have so much energy left. GunGFuBanDa just cannot make it happen. As here we are. This is it. Oh, Infestors.
It's the moments. Is he going to keep pushing here? He still has a bit of time, I guess, right? If he wants to keep this slow approach going.
This supply, though, is dropping it again. Microbial Shroud goes down. The Queens are just able to stay alive. The Interceptors, there's no more rebuilding them. You don't have 15 minerals.
Oh no, he's got nothing there. Yeah, this is coming down to a last battle, but I don't know, don't you just want to try to utilize those Tempests as much as possible then? If you can no longer rebuild those Interceptors, why send them in on the Spore Crawlers?
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
just
Scarlett she's bought up. Oh, the fungal growth is massive as Scarlett. She dives on in. She has bid her time, and she says that now she has to bring this to a game 3. An hour and 9 minutes in, she's folks firing down every single air unit. The Corruptors are low, but she has the bank. GG! Scarlett finally wins game number 2.
We're gonna go to game number 3, that means. Between these two. Alright. Alright. That was pretty epic. That was pretty epic. I almost want to ask as well, do we go into a different series now? That was long. That was long, but that was quite something.
So, for those wondering what has happened in the time between this series starting and it now ending, we are going to give you the update between games. So, Creator has obviously advanced in first out of Group A. The 2 other Protoss are now fighting for second place. Beyond in first in his group, and Creature and Pili Pili are now fighting for second. So again, another Protoss. Lambo in first, as expected, and the 2 Protoss fighting for third in Patty Mac and Luna C. Bunny advanced in first out of Group D, and now Nina and Maples, 2 Protoss, are fighting for second place again. So yeah.
Yep.
Lots of Protoss. Group E, Solar advances. No more Protoss. Zane is still in that group, actually looking to advance. So one of the 2 players there from Britain, as I believe the players are taking a quick break here after that game, and I do not blame them at all. That was ridiculous.
Yep.
In Group F, though, Laser advanced in first. Future and Jinio, who did actually face off in their first match, which Jinio won. So now playing for second there. Special and Jieshi have advanced in first and second respectively. And then Joan out of Group 1, Vindicta and M. Canning both facing off. Again, they faced each other in the first round, and it was 2-0 for Vindicta. Then Group I here, we're still waiting. Panda Bear Me, though, has been eliminated by Raza, who is now waiting for the loser of this match, as we have map number 3. It's inside and out. And Group J, Nice advanced in first. Jon Snow and Petit Drogo are battling it out. And then Spirit 2-0. Unfortunately, Steadfast has been eliminated. So we're not going to get to see our caster friend moving on in the tournament. But DNS and Fox are battling it out. Ryung 2-0 in Group L. Mana and Disrespect still facing off.
All right.
And then Group M is actually the only other group that is still playing out. Every single player still in it. Harstum and Binsky playing in the winners match. Benefit and Rob in the losers. And then Trigger out of Group N in first, actually. Got the 2-0 over Sue. Means that Gale Force and Renegan, the winner of that match, will be facing off against Sue to advance. Gerald and Shadone are playing in a very long PvP in Group O. And Kelzer has advanced out of Group P. Azure is out. Silky and Nightmare are now playing for the last spot. Honestly, by the time this series ends, we're pretty much going to be done with Group Stage 1.
Yep.
But hey, there's like all that. Yeah, a lot of the action is happening on the other streams. I believe right now, the B stream is covering Silky and Nightmare in that advancing match right now. That is at 22 minutes on Data C. It's a PVZ, but yeah, that's currently both players maxed out. Silky with a bank. That's an insane game, so do go check that out or have it on, multi-stream. Obviously is always good as well. And then I don't know exactly what's on the C stream. Let me check that. Give everyone the update.
Probably something. It looks like there was a little bit of a break
something.
as well here for maybe Scarlett or GungFu.
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense. That was a nail biter for a while.
Yeah.
Of course, after the results, everyone's like, "Well, of course that was gonna happen." But I mean, that was tough to call, man. That was still tough to call.
Yeah.
And yeah, both players just kind of trying to work to their favor, right? And you can't really blame a player for trying to still play into your favor, regardless of what the game turns out to be, slugfest-wise. But two players, they're very competitive. They both would love to have a victory here, and well, keeps it exciting as well, right? It's not every game that goes like this. It's absolutely not every game. So having it thrown in now and again, I absolutely love. Especially when it goes this equally throughout that entire game as well, right? Like, it wasn't...
Yeah.
I thought maybe for a moment Scarlett had a really good opportunity to push through with killing the fourth base again, right? But,
not quite.
Not quite.
Yeah, it looks like Gerald has beaten Shadone 2-0, so he is now through. So, there we go. Just a little update there. Gerald is the first player to advance out of Group O. And for the C stream is currently covering Vindicta M. Canning. Vindicta up 1-0 in that group, looking to try and advance the Cranky Ducklings Terran. Obviously having some great success recently, and so it's great to see him playing well. As we're still waiting for Scarlett here. Obviously needed a big break, so we'll give the players all the time. We have so much to talk about.
Yep.
Well,
yep. Apparently a lot has happened since then.
yeah.
Looking over it as well.
I think, interestingly enough, I believe Bunny actually dropped a map to Reaper, which I think is really interesting. Obviously, Reaper, the very, very cheesy Zerg from America. He did go into he's already in the knockout bracket, but hey, he kind of gave off Bunny with some of the cheese, so it was great to see there. Creator did drop a game to Poppy Joe, is one of the Protoss there in the advancement match from Denmark versus Riser.
Pappy Joe, he's a competitor, man. No one should underestimate him. He could be an up and comer.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I believe, unfortunately, where is it? Wait, where? I'm trying to find. Oh, did he not show up? Okay, never mind.
It's only it's already 1 a.m. for one of the viewers. You're not going to be able to stay up till the end of this stream, probably.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Unless if you're okay with sleeping during the daytime.
Unless you're nocturnal.
Yep. Maybe just call in sick. How about that? Call in sick tomorrow. You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
Yeah. Alright, Scarlett is back from the break, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna be
Yeah, you could do that as well, by the
up.
way. That's an idea. Someone's saying, like, I'm gonna go sleep now and then catch the third group stage later.
Honestly?
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad idea.
Yeah. Get 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
We'll probably be started right around then.
Yeah, make sure to keep the stream rolling, of course, while you do so. Just to not let us down for giving you this fantastic tip right now. Or, wait, who gave that tip? VHT 1986. Thank you.
Yep.
There you go.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, game 3. We had an hour-long game. We had a bit of a break, but here we are. Game 3 is going to be starting up, so thank you for your patience. After this game, would not be surprised if we are wrapping up Group Stage 1 and getting ready to head on to Group Stage 2, but here we are. It's inside and out. It's tied up 1-1. This series has been absolutely incredible. In the bottom left-hand corner, putting on a show. He has been hitting all-time new highs. The red Protoss from Infernales Esports. Ladies and gentlemen, it's GunGFuBanDa.
And the opponents in the top right side, the blue Zerg. The one and only Shopify Rebellion, Scarlett. Alright, moving things along with the probe there, coming across.
Alright, cannon rush time. I can only hope. I can only wish that we got a cannon rush in game 3. But obviously, you don't want to risk that, GunGFuBanDa. He is just going to deny the natural base. And you know, it's been so long, I forgot what the early game was like in the last 2 games.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I'm pretty sure we saw the same opening.
Did we? I guess so, yeah.
I think so.
I think so,
GunGFuBanDa, yeah, I think each game he has gone for that.
He got blocked with a hatchery at one point, right? But even...
Oh, yes.
Did he?
No,
Was that
game
just...
2 started with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That game 2 started with a hatchery block from Scarlett. Yeah. Oh, my God. Gosh, that was... Yeah,
crazy.
Absolutely insane.
So that means GunGFu's gonna win this one then, right?
Oh yeah, because he went for the base block every
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every game Scarlett won. She went with the hatchery block. So.
It's a small sample size and definitely
accurate data.
Scientists do not approve, but yeah, that's what we're going off of. But yeah, what do we see? Because the real question is, after you play an hour-long game, Scarlett wins. GunGFuBanDa probably feels like he could have won that game had he not taken so much damage early on.
Mm-hmm.
Do both players just say, hey, I'm comfortable going back to that mid-game, or does one player say, you know what, I want to try and hit a mid-game timing attack here and end it? GunGFuBanDa, his mid-game timing attack looked really strong in game 1 when he did actually do it. Obviously, game 3, he was a lot more patient and a lot more passive. But when he did that in game 1, it looked really, really solid. Was able to get the win in that game. But he's going to go for a Stargate, so it's not going to be anything insane like a Glaive Depths opening. Of course, there is still the opportunity for him to transition out of this into something.
Yep, exactly. Scarlett has been pretty tight with the earlier game defenses so far. There seems to be the follow-up that usually tends to give a bit more problems. But here again, I mean, you know, wait for the second adapt. Should be there right now.
Yeah. We're just going to see, I mean, the 2 adepts, they're going to see what damage they can get done. Not really going to commit. Oracle first. Honestly, I would have liked to see in this game GunGFuBanDa potentially go for something similar to the hero style. You know, where maybe it's an Oracle into Phoenix. Just because, I don't know, maybe that's something that Scarlett would not be ready for or expect, really. Like, if you're trying to switch it up, obviously if he wants to play this standard, and it looks like he does, because this is going to be a really, really fast third base. So this is just your usual, you know, fast third with off the back of this Oracle. There will be a 3-base attack, I think, off the transition. But for now, this is just GunGFuBanDa going to be trying to get into the best economic position that he can, while not really applying that much pressure across the map. Shield battery is also on the way here for this third, just making sure that's going to be completely safe. And I like this. In the third game, you know that Scarlett's not going to cheese this. You know, most likely. She wants to advance. She's not going to risk it all with the cheese, and so you just go for this very greedy build. Twilight Council is going to be the follow-up, and everything looks pretty standard here.
Yeah. Well, this Oracle's kind of tied to the Protoss side of the map, making it a bit more difficult to know what's happening on the Scarlet side of things, so... well, realizes there's not that many Zerglings anymore coming in as reinforcements. It might be the time to make the move across. Getting one drone there, but also zapped away. And what is this behind it? A Adept Glaive follow-up. Okay.
You know, because in the back of my mind, I was thinking, there's no way he goes for Glaive Adepts again. I was like, oh, this game, he's going to mix it up. He might go for, you know, Charge Lots again. Or Blink Stalkers. No.
No.
GunGFuBanDa says, I'm going to run it back. I like the Glaive Adepts. Now, I think it is interesting that this is probably going to be the more conservative Glaive Adepts. We've seen a lot of players start to experiment with this, where it's 3-base, 4-gate Glaive Adepts. You are not committing super heavy to the pressure. You are trying to get worker kills. You are trying to harass. And you're trying to catch the Zerg off guard because they don't expect Glaive Adepts at this time.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, worst case scenario, you force the Zerg to make a lot of units, right? And since they are adepts, you should be able to get yourself back to relative safely, unless if you know, really fumble the shade at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't know how many of them, but quite a few as they are approaching the creep line. We're seeing quite a few Zerglings on the production tab, but not too many available just quite yet. 2 Oracles still remain as well, and they are quite potent at dealing with Zerglings. However, those queens, they could be problematic. Oh my.
Just shades on it. I mean, I don't know if that was the right call. All the queens were here, but he knocks one queen down, gets a lot of the Zerglings very, very low. Is now going to continue forward, not into the main, cancels it. Is just going to try and focus some pressure down here onto this 4th base. But again, mind you, this is not an all-in here for GunGFuBanDa. This is light pressure. He's trying to force a response out, and he's absolutely done that. 60 more lings on the way. Hasn't got any worker kills, which is unfortunate, but behind this, he's on 3 bases, so you don't really need to find a massive amount of worker damage. Ideally, you're just, again, you're forcing a response. Disruptors on the way. It's going to be, I believe, the Blink +1 Stalker follow-up with the Disruptors, like we saw in Game 1. And that is a build that really just kind of, I mean, he kind of rolled over Scarlett with it.
Yeah, true. It's starting to look a little bit familiar with this now. Those Disruptors coming in once more. And, well, Scarlett's going to be a little while before there's really... Well, I guess the Infestation Pit is already on the way. It's not too inconceivable, actually, for Scarlett to have already Vipers out before we see a real committal across the map from GunGfu. The amount of Zerglings spread across as well, right? It's an army composition that I would feel more comfortable fighting Roaches rather than a lot of Zerglings for GunGfu.
Yeah, I mean, Hydras are on the way, and obviously into Blink Stalkers, Hydralisks are pretty good. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this works out, but I mean, the thing is, the Hydras, they aren't out yet. Lurker Den is on the way, but there's no Hydralisks. Run-by is getting set up here, but I mean, a great wall up here for GunGFuBanDa. Is now producing Phoenix as well. Very interesting.
That is quite interesting. What's he planning to do with the Phoenix, do you think?
Yeah, I think the only use that I can see here for the Phoenix is actually picking up Queens and also lifting up Lurkers. Is another thing that we might see here from GunGFuBanDa. If you get that lift onto the Lurker, it's not firing, suddenly that's exposed. It could be very, very potent. As great stage support there. Actually gets that entirely run by. As Scarlett right now is working with about 86 Zerglings. I think that's why we have seen GunGFuBanDa not commit across the map. Because he knows, listen, I just have Stalkers here, man. If I go across the map into this many Zerglings, there's no chance that I get out there alive. So he's now adding on some Colossus and Vipers for Scarlett. This is such an interesting... I think Scarlett realizing, listen, I actually needed Vipers earlier on in the last game, so I'm not going to make that same mistake. I'm going to get them out right now with my lurkers so that if you have those tech units, I can just start sniping them away.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Definitely felt like a turning point. I think that was game number 1. With Scarlett moving in just a little bit too soon, trying to go for the kill, and, well, that definitely did not repeat in game number 2. Here now, how many lurks do we already have? Only 2 of them so far. 2 disruptors also available. Colossus there. Senator Milan's coming up, so it might be a while before GunGFu again makes a move across. And, well, we could start to become in one of those long games here.
Oh man, this is a very dangerous army that's getting pushed out here for GunGFuBanDa. Has the Colossus added on, has disruptors. It's a lot of splash damage against this army for Scarlett, and you know, when you have lurkers and you have hydras, that splash damage is very, very effective. Especially once that +2 finishes, those Colossus are going to do so much damage. The disruptor shots, if they land, can be absolutely deadly. Mind you, GunGFuBanDa right now, actually using these Phoenix to keep track of Overlords and Overseer movement, also has a Warp Prism on the right side of the map. I'm actually liking how he's using them right now. His Fleet Beacon is on the way, Storm and +2, so he is going to start to prepare for that late game transition off these 4 bases. Also going to be able to match these Zerglings here. Nice part about that Glaive to Depths, they still do really, really well against those Zergling run-bys.
Yeah, it's nice to have them just kind of as an option there to warp in if there's just a lot of Zerglings coming to counter-attack. Definitely the case. I'm happy that GunGFu didn't quite make a committed move towards Scarlett there, just because of the Vipers being available as well. It's, I mean, even now, I feel worried. We're just, okay, there we go. There's some high tempo now. Now he's going to be able to defend himself a little bit. And since there's only the 2 disruptors, as soon as those go down, right, this is such a flimsy army all of a sudden.
Ooh, Stasis Ward on the right side of the map is so nice. Scarlett, it's actually setting up a surround here. Ooh, this is really, really dangerous for GunGFuBanDa. This is a massive concave here from Scarlett. As she collapses on in, storms go down. A lot of the lings get low as the immediate recall is popped, but so much falls to the lurker spines as Scarlett swells to 190 supply. And uh-oh, GunGFuBanDa, he was caught out. He was caught unawares. And just a massive collapse from Scarlett.
Coming in right now, good abducts on the Colossus as well as the Immortal. The 2 units really capable of holding their own for the moment now against these lurkers. Static defense helping out, slowing it all down. And, well, there's the 2 Phoenix coming into play. No, they're keeping the Oracle safe. This is something, actually. There's another attack on the right side. Zealots and Zerglings both being sent as a run-by and kind of exchanging numbers there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a better trade, though, for Scarlett. She's the one in the lead, and any even trade, of course, is better. She's going to be able to snipe off that 5th base. And suddenly, you know, that Fleet Beacon is really not going to be useful. GunGFuBanDa, he needs to rebuild another units. He actually has Immortals being produced right now, and they're good against the Lurkers, but against every other part of this army, I really don't like the Immortals. The Hydras just do better into them. The Zerglings especially, it's very hard for them to chew through those Zerglings efficiently. And obviously, that's the Archon's job, but it's, you know, it's not the best composition right now. The splash damage options are not there for GunGFu anymore. I mean,
like, Tyson, to be fair, like you said, the air transition seems so far away as well, and I do feel like GunGFu has to formulate some sort of a response to these lurkers right here, right now, right? So, oh man, it is. I'm glad I'm not in issues. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Still run by again is going to try and collapse on a few of these Hydralisks, but that's going to get shut down. Again, Scarlett just continuing to try and push this position, and I think she realizes, listen, my mistake last game, I was far too passive. It drew it out so long, I think I can try and find critical damage a lot sooner, and it's so many Immortals. 6 Immortals is ridiculous from GunGFuBanDa. But he decided, yeah, no, the Immortals, that's the way to go. You know, I'm just going to engage on the Lurkers, and I'm going to just 2-shot them with how many I have as Rebro comes through. The Storm is starting to weaken up the Lurkers just a little bit. +2 spines is not, I mean, that's not coming, that's not an option right now for Scarlett. She's actually finished +3 melee for her Zerglings. and is now working on +2 range only now with the Carapace upgrade. But she's going to push this forward. If this third base goes down, I mean, that just might be it. But here we go, GunGFuBanDa. He has a surround set up. He's going to try and commit on in as the Immortals trying to chew through the Lurkers. They're doing a good job of it. The flank is getting on top of the Hydralisks, and GunGFuBanDa trying to break out, but he just doesn't have enough, just barely. The Lurkers hold on. The Immortals, their DPS is not high enough, and the flank dies away as now the Yorks come through. The Immortals fall down, and GunGFuBanDa, he tried, but it was not enough. GG. After an hour-long game in 14 minutes, Scarlett is going to advance on to group stage.